Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Blocky here, and today we are going to be doing a Shonen anime tier list. Now, I have done this a couple of times. It's been quite a few years, though, since I have done the last one of these. This time, I decided to go ahead and add in a lot of the more modern, popular Shonen stuff that has come out during the 2020s. So, yeah, we're going to be ranking a lot of that stuff as well as a lot of older stuff. So, anyway, let's get right into it. So, first up, we have Magi, which I'm going to put Magi in probably B tier. I like Magi. It's a good solid anime. There's nothing over the top good about it, but I just think as an anime it's fine. I haven't read the manga, but as an anime I think it's really good. It just didn't quite get probably to where I think the peak of the story is going to be at yet. So yeah, but I do think Magi is still a really good show. Trash can. You know what? We're going to make another tier just for this show. Actually, I need to make another tier anyway, but we're going to go ahead and just... So we're going to do NA, and then we're going to do trash can. And we're going to put trash can right there. I don't even care that they're the same color. Trash can. Garbage. Absolutely one of the worst anime I've ever seen in my entire life. Trash. I literally cannot sit through it. It is so bad. Season 1 of the show was alright. The main character was annoying as hell, but season 1 was alright. Season 2, and I think season 3, because I think there's 4 seasons. I never watched the 4th season, or whatever the most recent season is. But whatever that is, I think it's season 2 and 3. So bad. It's so bad. And I don't even want to know what the most recent season is, because I guarantee that's just as bad. Alright, so Seraph of the End. D tier. It's not a bad show, but it's not particularly good either. I think it's like alright. It's got its things about it that's like, okay, this is a good solid show, but I don't think as an anime it really quite made it to the point of the story where it was like gonna be good yet. I think there were some moments, but other than that, like, it really wasn't anything special. Inuyasha, I'm going to put C tier reluctantly. That's mostly just due to its popularity. Because the show has aged horribly. Because I watched it for the first time, I think 2 years ago. And it was quite literally one of the most miserable experiences I've ever had watching an anime in my entire life. Like, I call, like, Rent-A-Girlfriend trash, and it is, but at least I was able to find some sort of entertainment from it. There is a large chunk of Inuyasha that is straight up the most boring, just crap ever. And I'm not even talking about filler, because I didn't watch any filler. Just the canon stuff is quite literally, for a large chunk of it, boring as all hell. But there is some moments in Inuyasha that I do genuinely enjoy, so it's going to go ahead and go into C tier, and the popularity also boosts it up a little bit for me, but I just can't. It cannot go any higher than C for me. We're going to do Attack on Titan, which is going to go into A tier. That might be controversial to some people, but I just think they're, like, as phenomenal as a lot of the stuff is. I think there are some moments in the show that just aren't quite as good as some of the stuff I'm going to be putting up in S tier. And I also have some stuff in S tier that's going to be biased. Attack on Titan, to me, although is phenomenal, from episode 1 all the way to the very last episode, I just don't think it's got that stuff that I just don't quite think it just got what it's got. You know what I mean? It's great, but it's not the peak. So we got Death Note. I'm going to put Death Note in B tier. Good show. Great show, even. I'm going to put it higher than Magi. Yeah, higher than Magi. I think it's a great show. I think it's a really good show to introduce anime fans to different genres of anime. However, I don't think it's as good as shows like Attack on Titan or some of the other stuff I'm going to be ranking higher, right? I think it's a great show. It just doesn't quite have that oomph to it. That's like, okay. Okay, so the first sports anime, S tier. It's not my favorite sports anime. There are going to be a couple others in S tier here, but Slam Dunk is great. Slam Dunk has a lot going for it. Teaches you a lot about a sport that you may or may not know a lot about. You may already been a basketball fan before Slam Dunk. You may not have been. I wasn't. But, you know, Slam Dunk certainly taught me a lot about basketball. The characters are great. The story writing is great. Hanamichi, great main character who goes through a phenomenal character arc, which goes along with the great characters, obviously. It's just a really good show. And it has aged surprisingly all right. Like, the animation, you could definitely tell is obviously old, but the show's still pretty good. And the manga, obviously, is great. So it's like, you know. So now we got Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood. I'm going to put that in A tier. Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood is great. Really good. However, I'm going to explain myself. One of the most overrated anime of all time. It's good. It's great even. It's very consistently good from episode 1 all the way to its very final episode. It's a great show. But I just don't think that it's like the peak of anime. You know what I mean? I don't know why everybody rates the show so highly. Like it's great. It's really good. And it's definitely one of the top like shonen anime. But I just can't rank it like super duper high. It's good, but that's like yeah. So Demon Slayer higher than Inuyasha, but still C tier, I think. So Demon Slayer for me, the reason why it's in C tier below like Magi and Death Note is because although its animation is phenomenal, the character writing, I don't really like any of the characters particularly. There's a couple that I think are okay, but most of the characters I don't really care that much about, especially the main characters. The story is pretty typical shonen. It's not bad per se, but it's not particularly good. It's just alright. So there's nothing really phenomenal that really makes it stand out and be like the next best thing. It's alright. And that's fine. There's nothing wrong with being alright. I enjoy Demon Slayer. I'm gonna watch, you know, the final movies or whatever. But I'm not gonna sit here and go out of my way and say it's like the greatest show of all time, because that's just not true. A show that is in contention for greatest show of all time, though, Hunter x Hunter. Actually, we're gonna put that above Slam Dunk. Hunter x Hunter is phenomenal. So good. It is. It's so good, man. It's actually, like, quite frankly, probably the most consistently good anime, like, ever. Because, like, even anime like One Piece, which I think are great, which I'll rank later, have their issues in anime format. Manga, the One Piece manga is peak, but in anime format, like, yeah, even like the One Piece anime has its problems, but like what are the Hunter x Hunter anime, 2011 one especially, like, it's just peak. Like, it's consistently just so good for so long. It's like 170 or 180 episodes or something like that. I don't remember how long Hunter x Hunter anime is. But it's just consistently good for that entire time, and it just never stops, and it's so good. So the next sports anime, which is also going to be an S tier, Ace of the Diamond, I'm going to put higher than Slam Dunk. I know a lot of people have a massive amount of love for Slam Dunk, and so do I. I think it's a great sports anime. I have a little bit of a bias towards Ace of the Diamond, though, and I'm going to explain. So, first off, I think the quality level is about the same level as Slam Dunk. I think it's a little bit lower than Slam Dunk on the quality level, but the thing that boosts it up to me is just specifically the sport it's about, which is baseball. I just love baseball as a sport in general in comparison to like every other sport, so that's automatic bias to me. And the fact that you can have a baseball anime this good with characters that are this enjoyable, it just makes it so good, because this anime could really like actually help get people into baseball, because I know a lot of people say baseball is a boring sport, and I always respond with the exact same thing. Baseball is only boring because you don't know what's going on. If you can understand the rules, you can learn how things work, you can go into a baseball game and be like, wow, this is actually fun. Because, you know, if you're somebody who's like an avid baseball fan, you're seeing, you know, it's in the 8th inning and nobody scored any points yet. You're like, why do people like this? And the people who are avid, they would understand, be like, oh, this is a pitcher's duel. Like, oh man, these pitchers are going off. Like, you know, and that's kind of stuff that like Ace of the Diamond explains and goes into. It's like, okay, you know, this may look boring on the outside, but if you really get into the in-depth detail of everything, it's like, okay, this is actually great. And Ace of the Diamond does a really good job of that. Plus, the characters are really entertaining. It has a lot of the special superpowers that a lot of like some sports anime do, like Kuroko no Basket and stuff like that, which is also makes it really fun. So yeah, overall though, yeah, Ace of the Diamond is definitely up there as one of my favorite sports anime. Yeah, so we got My Hero, lower than Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood. Yeah, lower than Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood because it's not as consistently good throughout its entire run, but I do like My Hero. I know a lot of people give a lot of shit to My Hero Academia, but I do genuinely think it's a really good show. I just think it's got a couple of moments in the middle of the series around season 4, season 5, where it's kind of just like, why are you adding this crap that nobody cares about? Like the freaking, what is it, the school arc or whatever, like right in the middle of, I don't remember what, I think it was either season 4 or season 5. It's like, why was that there? Nobody cared. Literally nobody cared. We were just getting off of one of the most hype freaking arcs in the entire show, and then you just go into the school arc, and it's like, oh, okay. But yeah, besides like stuff like that, like My Hero is actually pretty decent. I think the main characters are good, and the villains are great. I think a lot of the side characters, like a lot of the classmates and stuff, just they're not that good, but it's like you can still get some good moments from them. So I think overall My Hero's a pretty solid anime. I really, really enjoy it. I just think there are moments in it that aren't quite there that can make it not quite the peak that it could have been. JJK is going in B tier. I don't even care what anybody says. I'm going to put it right there, though, because I think it's good. It's better than Demon Slayer for sure. But I just don't think it's, like, it's got that many. Like, I like some of the characters. Some of the characters I don't really like that much. I think the action and choreography in it is phenomenal, obviously. The animation is peak, just like Demon Slayer and a lot of modern anime nowadays. But I just think that there is just missing, like, something that, like, it doesn't really hook you in. You know what I mean? Like, I was never, like, locked in when I was watching JJK. I was always just like, okay, this is fun. Especially when I was watching season 2. I was like, okay, this is really fun. Like, hype-ass battle, but, like, what's the stakes here? You know what I mean? Because like in JJK too, especially in season 2, you start noticing very quickly that like, okay, characters are just gonna die. You know what I mean? Like, I don't even care if that's a spoiler. I apologize if it is, but like, characters are just gonna die. Like, that's just how it is. Like, and so then you start thinking it's like, okay, well, that does add a little bit of stakes to it. It's like, so now you're questioning. It's like, okay, who's gonna die? But at the same time, it's also just like, but then it starts killing off a lot of characters, and it's like, oh. So now we're back to kind of like, why are you doing this? You know what I mean? So JJK is fine. I actually really enjoy it, especially season 2. I thought season 2 was phenomenal. But yeah, I just don't think it's quite that peak level that it could be. You know what I mean? Like, it definitely has the potential to be like peak, but it just, to me, hasn't gotten there yet. So we got One Piece. That's going to be number 1. That is going to be number 1. No ifs, ands, or buts about that. One Piece is, in my opinion, probably the best anime ever made. No, I'm joking. Best manga ever made, though, for sure. But best anime, I think it's carried by the story that is the manga, because the anime does have a lot of issues. Obviously, the early parts of the story of the anime are very dated, but also you have the bad pacing. But you know, besides like those two elements, like I still think the One Piece anime is great. Could I recommend it to somebody? No. But that's mostly on the backs of what we get today. Like, if you go ahead and, like, it's like, say Wit Studio releases their anime, and that you get caught up to Wano with the Wit Studio anime, and then you could watch, like, Toei's version for fucking everything else, or even, you know, I don't know what Wit Studios is going to look like, but, you know, it's just, like, One Piece is just good. It's just good. It's just good. It's just good. It's just good shit. Tokyo Revengers, I'm going to put C tier. I'm going to put above Inuyasha just because it's not as boring. I've only seen the first season, though. Never read the manga. Haven't seen any of the other seasons. I just know the direction the story's going in because of everything that was said online while the series was going on and while it was ending. And, yeah, I kind of just don't want to. Because I really enjoyed season 1, and I don't want to see it fall off hard, so I'm just going to let it sit. But because of that fall off that I know is going to happen, I have to put it in C tier. But yeah, I did enjoy season 1 a lot. I just can't, for the life of me, continue because I just don't want to see a show that I really enjoyed fall off that hard. So, but yeah, I think it's still all right. Naruto is going to be above Hunter x Hunter. That's bias. That is complete bias. Hunter x Hunter is objectively a better show than Naruto, but bias. I grew up with Naruto, so bias obviously is going to put it up way higher than some of the other shows that probably are better than it. But again, I grew up with Naruto, so that's just how it is. Seven Deadly Sins, D tier, trash. I haven't even watched the last season. I don't really plan on ever doing so. I did enjoy the first season or two, but really it's just not that good of a show. I don't like Meliodas as a main character. There are some of the other characters I don't particularly care about. There are some characters that are alright, but I mean, Seven Deadly Sins just isn't that good. I thought it was alright and it had an interesting concept, but it just kind of fumbled really hard. But if you enjoy it, I'm not going to sit here and hate you on it. I just think you're going to be a little bit of a weirdo, but that's fine. So now we have Bleach. Bleach is going to go A tier. It's, in my opinion, the worst of the big three, but I still really enjoy it. I still think it's a really good show, especially with the 1,000 Year Blood War stuff coming out right now. I still think it's good. It's just not got the same level of consistent quality to me that Naruto or One Piece have. But I still really enjoy it, and I love pretty much everything about Bleach. I think it's just really good. So Dead Man Wonderland, I have not seen Dead Man Wonderland, but I have not heard the best things about the anime, so who knows? Maybe one day I'll watch it, maybe one day I won't. But I definitely want to read the manga at some point. So now we got Assassination Classroom. I'm going to put that right there at the top of B. It's just consistent. That's what makes Assassination Classroom good. It's just consistent. There's never a dull moment in Assassination Classroom. It's consistently good right from episode 1, but it doesn't have the same level of peak hype until the very end. But just it consistently being solid the entire time puts it in top of B tier, because it just doesn't have a moment where it stops, and that's great. Now the exact opposite of that is Promised Neverland. I'm gonna put it in C tier strictly for season 1, because if we're going off season 1, that's S, right? Because Promised Neverland was great. It was great at one point, and then you get into season 2. They cut out some of the best arcs in the story. They cut out a lot of crap. They skip through so much stuff. The animation's a lot lower quality than it was the first season. You just miss so much stuff. You skip through a lot of the character building and character development. You cut out characters. It's they did so much wrong. They fumbled it so hard. And I could forgive a lower quality animation because maybe the production was rushed. Maybe you didn't have a high budget. Maybe animators were stressed. Whatever it may be. Whatever it may be. I can forgive that, as long as the end product is all right story-wise and other things. But it's just the fumbling of everything at once just made season 2 so bad. So it goes from S to C, because it's from S, season 1, season 2 trash, right? So it's you kind of got to balance that out a little bit. Dr. Stone, I'm going to put B tier. I'm going to put it higher than Death Note. I love Dr. Stone. I don't think it's the greatest anime of all time, especially in certain aspects of it. There are certain moments in it where I'm okay. But I do think it's really funny. I like the characters a lot. The science aspect of it is really cool. I think it's just a really solid show, and I just really enjoy it. So next we have Blue Exorcist, which I'm going to put Blue Exorcist in C tier. Below Demon Slayer, I think. Yeah. I don't really remember that much about Blue Exorcist. I've only seen the first season. I haven't seen any of the more recent stuff. But I do remember really liking it. I just don't remember much about it because it's been 7 or 8 years now since I've seen it. So it's definitely been a hot minute. Nisekoi, this is going to be completely and totally biased. I don't even care. It's A tier for me. So the reason why I'm putting Nisekoi this high, this list is mostly strictly based off anime. However, there are some things that I will be influenced by the manga. Nisekoi is one of those shows, because Nisekoi is the very first manga I ever read. So therefore, it has that kind of special place for me. So automatically, Nisekoi goes right up there to A tier. I can realize that it's not the best rom-com out there, but again, I don't particularly care. So yeah, it's going to be up there in A tier. So now we got Haikyuu, which out of the sports anime so far is my least favorite. But that doesn't mean Haikyuu's bad. That just means it's my least favorite. I'm going to put Haikyuu... I'm going to put Haikyuu in A. I'm going to put it above My Hero. Haikyuu is really good. Obviously, it's got a lot of the same elements that Ace of the Diamond and Slam Dunk have. I just don't think it's particularly as good, mostly simply because of the fact of the sport of choice, which is volleyball. I don't like volleyball, like, at all. Like, in real life, I actually hate volleyball. I remember in middle school playing volleyball in gym class and not knowing how to do anything, sucking ass, and it was just like, I hated it. I hated it so much. And I'm also bad at freaking basketball too, don't get me wrong. But at least I understand how to play the game, and it's at least fun to play, right? And baseball, I just love because I actually know how to play the game, and I'm fairly okay at it. But yeah. Anyway, but yeah, like, I don't know. It's got a lot of great elements in it, and the story's great, the characters are great. But yeah, to me, it's just like, it's not my favorite sports anime. It is good though. Right up there. That's bias. That's complete bias. I understand that Black Clover isn't objectively the best show, or isn't objectively like the best, but I like it. And it was the first long-running anime that I watched from episode 1 all the way to its final episode weekly. The very first. And I know that's crazy because it came out in 2017, but I'd seen Naruto, I had seen, other long-running shows, but I'd never watched them from start to finish weekly as they were coming out, right? Because I don't even count like My Hero. First off, My Hero's not finished yet anyway. I mean, technically neither is Black Clover, but the reason why I don't count My Hero is because I didn't watch My Hero until season 2 was about halfway over. I didn't start My Hero until then. So I can't count that because that's already been like a year and a half since, My Hero had come out. But with Black Clover, I had literally episode 1, clicked on it, I was like, okay, this is awesome, and I watched it all the way through. So yeah, it's a massive bias on my part. I've enjoyed the hell out of Black Clover. I love it, and for that very reason, it's going to go top of A tier. It's probably going to be the top A tier one. So, yeah. Now, if we're going to talk bias, Fairy Tail. I've said multiple times on the channel my reasons for loving Fairy Tail. I know objectively it's not the best show ever, but I don't particularly care. I have a very, very personal reason and a personal love for this show. I haven't been enjoying 100 Year Quest as much as I enjoyed the original Fairy Tail, but I still really like it. Yeah. Again, it's just very, very personal to me, so that's why I rank it so highly, regardless of how good the quality of the show is. It does not matter to me. Food Wars is weird, but it's funny. I'm going to put it above Inuyasha just because it's not boring. Inuyasha, I'm going to tell you guys right now, is probably going to be the bottom of C tier. But yeah. So Food Wars is good for the first, 2 seasons. Third season's okay. Fourth and fifth season are not that great. I don't know. It's funny, consistently funny all the way throughout. I think some of the character development is okay, but some of it's I don't know. It's fine. It just drops in quality a good bit by the end, but it's fine. We got JoJo's. JoJo, I'm gonna go ahead and put. I'm gonna put it below Bleach, but above Full Metal. JoJo's great. I haven't seen part 6 yet, but JoJo is just a really solid, really fun show. It's wacky, it's goofy. The main characters are all over the place, crazy, and it's fun. And that's what I love about it. You don't need to know what the hell is going on just for it to have a little bit of fun. So yeah. So now we're going to go and do Soul Eater. I'm going to put Soul Eater above Magi but below Death Note. Soul Eater is just a really good anime. It's got some issues, like the ending of the anime specifically. I haven't read the manga, so I don't know. But the ending of the anime isn't particularly the best, but there is a lot of good about Soul Eater, so it definitely gets ranked a pretty decent score. Spy Family is going to go above Bleach. I love Spy Family. It's a very, it's just very funny. It's consistently very, very funny. And I just like it. Because not only is it funny, but it knows how to balance funny, action, and story really, really well. Because it can have one episode that you don't think particularly has anything to do with the story, and it's just really funny. And then you can have another one where it's okay, this is actually advancing the story, and actually you need to pay attention to this in the same episode and still be very, very funny, right? So yeah, it's just a pretty good show. Your Line April, I'm gonna put bottom of B. It's a good show. Very, very good. Very, very emotional. However, there are moments in the show, especially towards the end, where the ending is very predictable. But, you know, I still think it's a very good show, and I do actually really like it. Yeah. Chainsaw Man, I don't care that is going to be controversial. I really don't. Because the anime, I'm enjoying part 2 of the manga, so that's okay. But the anime covers part 1, not even the full part 1, just the first half. And I don't particularly like part 1 of Chainsaw Man manga. Yeah, I actually don't really like it at all. I think it's kind of ass. But especially that first half. But yeah, I mean, you know, it's not bad per se, and the production quality on the Chainsaw Man anime is peak, so I mean, there's that at least, but I just can't. I cannot rank it. So the only other anime on this list that's going to compete with being as bad as Seven Deadly Sins, Fire Force. So I've read the entirety of the manga, so I know how Fire Force ends. The prequel to Soul Eater. It's not that good. There's a lot of moments, like, it's got a lot of potential, and there's a lot of moments in it that feel like they could be good, then get ruined by certain characters or certain stupid things that the author for some reason thought were going to be funny that just aren't. And yeah, so Fire Force has a lot of moments where I'm just like, why? Why are you ruining this by adding stupid ecchi elements, or, you know, whatever the heck stupid stuff you want to add? Like, just stop. Like, we're trying to get we're in like a serious battle right now. You don't need to be seeing the ecchi. Like, if I want to see some boobs, I'll just go somewhere else. Like, come on, I'm not here to fucking see that right here. But yeah, not particularly good. So yeah, that's just kind of how it goes. Kuroko's Basketball, I have not seen. I think it's the only popular sports anime I haven't seen. It's not actually, no, I don't think that's quite true. There's a few I haven't seen, but yeah, Kuroko's Basketball I have not seen. I've heard it's pretty funny, so I mean, there's that. I'm gonna say the same about Gintama. I have seen Gintama. However, I've only seen 20 episodes of Gintama. So I can't really rank Gintama because I just haven't seen that much of it in the grand scheme of things. But, you know, I did enjoy what I saw. I just haven't gotten around to finishing it because it's long. So now we have Dragon Ball, and I'm going to put Dragon Ball right there. Dragon Ball is a good show. I like part 1. Kid Goku is my favorite section. I know that's probably controversial, but I don't care. The original Dragon Ball is good. Really good. Dragon Ball Z is good. Entertaining. There's a lot of good stuff in it. And I like it. Dragon Ball Super, there's some good moments in there, but I think it's a massive drop in quality in comparison to what Z was, and Z was already a drop in quality to me comparatively what the original was. So, you know, I think overall Dragon Ball is a really good show, and it obviously deserves its popularity. But I just don't particularly think it's as good as some of the other stuff that I've ranked higher. There is some stuff that I have bias towards, but besides that, like, yeah, it's definitely, like, it's good, but not the best. So now we got Boruto. I'm going to put Boruto as an anime. If I was ranking the manga, it would be like B tier, but if I'm going just based off the anime, I'm going to put it above Fire Force. So the problem with the Boruto anime is that it's got a lot of anime original content that is not good. It's got a lot of filler that's also obviously not good. The only good part about the anime, in my opinion, is the fact that it actually does a fairly good job when it's covering the manga at enhancing the manga material. But that's only in the very few sections of the anime that actually cover the manga, because there is a large chunk of the anime that is filler or just anime original stuff, and neither which are very good. But yeah. So the Boruto anime is not particularly good. The manga is alright, and I do recommend it, but not the anime. So Hajime no Ippo, I'm going to put right up here. Best sports anime ever made. Plain and simple. There's nothing even that comes close. It needs more episodes because it's so good. I don't know anything about boxing, but I fucking love Hajime no Ippo, so that's all that matters. It's just such a good show. Ippo is a great main character, and you know the other characters in the Jim as well are great. It's just really fun. It's just a really, really good show. Hell's Paradise, I'm going to put above Your Lie in April. It's an alright show. It's not particularly bad, but it's not particularly good. I thought the season ended right about where I started to think it was going to start getting good. So if it gets another season, obviously that ranking could go up because obviously we're going to be covering more story stuff. A lot of season 1 was focused a lot on the character introductions and like kind of discovering their powers and them kind of focusing on the world building, which is understandable. You know, you wanted to figure out what's going on the island and all that kind of stuff. So that does make a lot of sense. So yeah, hopefully if a season 2 ever comes out, you can figure out things and maybe it'll get a little bit higher quality. So next is Yu Yu Hakusho. I'm gonna put Yu Yu Hakusho in A tier somewhere. I think I'm gonna put it above JoJo. Maybe even above Bleach. I'm trying to think here for a second. Yeah, I'm gonna put it above Bleach too. Yu Yu Hakusho is a really, really good show. It's just consistently amazing throughout its entire run. There is some moments in it where I'm like, it's not as good as some moments, but that's okay. Like the Dark Tournament arc, I think is the peak of the series, and then some of the arcs afterwards aren't as good, but they're still good. But yeah, no, Yu Yu Hakusho is just a great show. Frieren, I'm gonna put Frieren in S. No, that's the Mashal, not Frieren. Frieren, I'm gonna put an S. I'm gonna put Frieren. This could be recency bias, but honestly, I'm gonna put it above Naruto. Frieren is just so good. It gave me a feeling that I haven't gotten in a very long time in watching anime. And that's why I just rank it so highly, because it's just so good. And it wasn't even the only anime that season that was that good, but that one's not a shonen, so I'm not going to rank it on this tier list. But yeah, it's just so good. Alright, so now we have Mashal. I do like Mashal quite a bit, but I don't think it's as good as some of the other stuff. I think I'm going to put it the highest to C, because although I like Mashal a lot, I think I prefer Season 2 over Season 1. I think it had a slow start. Season 1 was okay. It was funny, and it was mostly focused on character introductions. But Season 2 was actually fairly decent, and I found it pretty good. But yeah, that's where it's going to rank there. Top of C. Iruma is going to go A. I'm going to put that right there. That is very much so biased. Objectively, I'm not sure where I would put it, but bias is definitely going to put it right up there, because Iruma is such a good show. It's hilarious as hell. The characters are great. The world is really weird and wacky and interesting to learn about. And the story also is so far pretty good. Like, it's just a really solid anime, and Season 4 just got announced relatively recently, like a month ago or something, as of recording of this video. So that was also really hype. So yeah, very, very excited to see more of it, and I love the show, and I highly recommend it. So Blue Lock. Blue Lock, I'm gonna put. I'm gonna put Blue Lock in probably C tier, above Tokyo Revengers. So Blue Lock to me is a good show, but I don't particularly love it. I'm not even watching Season 2. It's all right. Like, out of all the sports anime, I quite frankly think it's my least favorite. Just because, like, I'm not a huge fan of that, like, selfish character kind of thing. Like, I thought out of the 2 soccer anime that dropped in the same year, Aoashi was significantly better, because it was actually more of a traditional kind of sports anime that focused a lot more on the team and, like, other characters and other things like that. Whereas Blue Lock is a very selfish-oriented show. Like, obviously there are other characters that are great, but still, it's just like, I just don't like the concept of the story in general, so I just can't really rank it that well. So now we got A Silent Voice. A Silent Voice is definitely going to go in S tier, but I think it's going to be the bottom. No, not the bottom. I'll put it there. I love A Silent Voice. I think it's such a freaking so good movie. Very, very heavily emotional, but it's something I definitely always recommend to people. In 2016, there were two movies that got really popular that dropped during the same time, and I think A Silent Voice is significantly better than Your Name was. Your Name has its moments too that are really good, but A Silent Voice is just peak. Now we have Kaiju number 8, and I'm going to put Kaiju number 8 in B tier. I'm going to put it right there. I liked Kaiju number 8. However, considering the level of hype it had going into it, I don't think it quite lived up to that. It's good. It's good. But it's just, I don't think it lived up to that hype level that it had. And for that, I have to knock it a few points because I just don't think it was as good as what it could have been. And now, for a show that isn't quite yet finished, I'm going to put it right now top of B. However, that very easily could get shifted and go straight up to A. Because Dandadan is so good. It is absolutely amazing so far. So, you know, there's that. Anyway, so that is my list. I had some I haven't seen on here. I have Trash, which is Rent a Girlfriend, and then the rest of it is, you know, actual list. Yeah, you guys can tell me your guys' list downs in the comments. It would be nice to see what you guys like to say. You can give me your opinion on mine. I know I have some controversial stuff on mine, so that would be fun to see. Anyway, I'll see you guys next week with another video. Bye.